I have not behaved one single day of my life. Not one day of my life have I behaved, and I am fine.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people.
Whose car are we gonna take?
There we go. Hello and happy Friday. I know. I'm like muted. Thanks to you guys for joining us on the Nikki Medoro show on this fabulous, very busy news-wise day. Fani Willis's case is still going on. This is, of course, whether or not she has a conflict of interest with Wade, and it's just going to be delayed again. John Rothmann is going to join us to kind of sort this whole thing out. This is not the only thing, though, that we're going to talk to John about. A Trump-appointed judge has denied Trump's motion to delay the documents case, the deadlines for that. There's the hush money case. A trial date has been set for that. The New York civil fraud case. Trump's going to find out how much he has to pay. And then, of course,
spin the big wheel of court cases where he stops, nobody knows.
God. And then, of course, there is the news about that FBI informant.
Oh, this is huge.
That the Republicans have latched their whole case on. And he's lying. Shock. This is my shock face. But what does it mean? It means nothing because Republicans.
Lie.
Yeah. The Republicans are still going to double down on all of that. So we'll get John's take on that. And, of course, Alexei Navalny died of a mysterious illness, and everyone's saying it's Russia, it's Putin that did it. So what does that mean, as someone that truly believes there was some sort of collusion, or Russia did want former President Trump to become president in 2016, with the fact that Tucker Carlson is like the biggest Putin fan, apparently. Some hilarious video. I don't know if you saw it, Kim. Tucker
I heard
Carlson
Putin say he thought that Carlson was weak. He expected an American journalist to come in and and ask him the tough questions, and that he was disappointed by the whole experience. First of all, you don't want anybody to ask you tough questions.
No,
I was saying that yesterday on the show. If you wanted tough questions to be asked, you would have asked Christiane Amanpour to come interview you.
And she has interviewed Putin. For Tucker Carlson to act like he's the only person that's ever interviewed Vladimir Putin is ridiculous, right?
She put out a statement saying, "I've been trying to interview this guy for years."
Well, there are images, I mean, not recently, of him being interviewed by American journalists. Okay, so it's not as if he's never met an American journalist. They've never been over there before. But the thing with Tucker Carlson, he's putting out on his social media feeds that he's walking like through a grocery store or some nonsense, right? And it's as if he's never been, I've never been to one, but I know they have them. Aldi. Have you ever been to an Aldi grocery store?
I think I have once in Luxembourg.
Okay, I'm just going to show you this quick video, and then we're going to bring John Rothmann on. Look at how he is just so shocked by this idea.
Right.
Look.
Here we go. So I guess you put in 10 rubles here, and you get it back when you put the cart back. So it's free, but there's an incentive to return it and not just bring it to your homeless encampment. Okay.
So he's thrilled by technology we've had in this country for years to get the cart back, right? Like some of the carts have these locking. It's as if Tucker Carlson hasn't gone grocery shopping in a very long time before. He's just an asshat.
Well, and I would also argue he's not a journalist.
And he's not. Thank you very much.
He's a commentator with a point and an edge and an agenda, and there's a big difference.
Yeah, but you would think that Tucker Carlson was the end-all be-all of journalism, according to some big supporters of him. And he's like, this is how you get radicalized to love Russia. And I'm like, are you listening to yourself? But anyways, that's Tucker Carlson. I don't want to give him any more PR any more than he already has for himself. But yeah, he's not the one that we need to be looking to for information about Putin or Russia. Okay, before we get to John Rothmann, click that thumbs up button. Show your support for the show. Thank you to Kim McAllister for stepping in yesterday I had a funeral. The father of a very good friend of mine has passed away. And so I went. And I'm not going to get morbid later on in the show. 2 funeral or kind of passing stories. One is disturbing. I'm just going to say that. It's kind of disturbing. Another is a question that we were talking about a lot yesterday when we were remembering my friend's dad. And so we'll get into that later on in the show. The Super Chat, of course, is live. It's a way for you to donate. And Spencer, thank you so much for starting us off with that $5 Super Chat donation. We really do appreciate it and value you guys so very much. And then, of course, support us monthly through our Patreon, thenikkimedoroshow.com. Sign up, become an official Medorable. It's a one-time monthly payment, so just go to thenikkimedoroshow.com, and our Patreon link is there. All right, it is now time. It is Friday, time for our political roundup with the one and only John Rothmann. John has his own podcast that he puts out, Around the Political World with John Rothmann. Thank you, my friend, for always coming on with us.
May I say it is always a pleasure. I love listening to you on KCBS.
Oh,
it's
yes.
even a greater delight to see you.
Thank you, my friend. Okay, so let's get into this. Right now, I had to click off of it, but CNN is carrying the live hearing regarding this conflict of interest with Fani Willis. She's not, at least the last headline I read, expected to get back on the stand. She did yesterday because she was all angry. John, bring us up to speed about this case and just your thoughts on how you think this is going to go.
The issue is not District Attorney Willis. Whether she had a romance with a coworker or not is of no consequence. The issue is, did Donald Trump try to interfere in the Georgia election? And that's got to be the focus, and that's my concern, and that should be all of our concern. The rest of it is a distraction. So I don't know what the outcome will be. I believe, based on what I've heard, that she will not be removed from the case. Donald Trump will be held accountable in Georgia. And given the Raffensperger discussion, which was taped, he's clearly guilty. Yeah. So let this play out. And by the way, I found District Attorney Willis very compelling yesterday and legitimately angry. And I have great respect for her. So
yeah, I mean, she was, there was one point where one of her friends had come on and said the romantic relationship had started earlier. But the whole time I was watching it, John, I kept thinking, it's just a delay tactic. Everybody knows. And let me just play a quick clip just to kind of what you were just talking about. She's not a happy woman being on this stand and being accused of what she's being accused of. Here's Fani Willis.
Well, no, look. I object to you getting records. You've been intrusive into people's personal lives. You're confused. You think I'm on trial. These people are on trial for trying to steal an election in 2020. I'm not on trial, no matter how hard you try to put me on trial.
So my question was, do you have any problem?
I object to getting any personal records of mine.
We're not dealing with privilege through a witness.
And I'm not, no, I'm not dealing with privilege.
So you can just see her right there, John. She's not a fool. There was another point about the fact that, that she needed Wade and that she needed his money. And she basically said, she's like, the last man that I've ever needed money from was my father when he took care of me.
My daddy.
Exactly. My daddy. And she very strong. And I think that scares Trump because he knows that he cannot intimidate her. And this case is extremely strong in my humble opinion. So
it's strong, and I believe in the end, justice will prevail, and it will be proven that Donald Trump tried to interfere in the election in Georgia. By the way, it's not just this court that's considering it. Mr. Smith in Washington is also dealing with election interference, which includes Georgia. So Donald Trump is stuck. Not only that, now he's going to have to sit in a courtroom.
Yeah.
And he's not going to be able to campaign. And here he is, still protesting that he should have immunity. Yeah. Rubbish, I say. This is a case which should go to the Supreme Court. No president should have immunity. It's President's Day on Monday, my favorite day of the year, if you will. And to think that the American presidency is reduced to this is just tragic. Let me also point out while I'm doing this that the death of Mr. Navalny, which I heard very early this morning, I think about midnight, a little later our time, and the fact that the president, while you are on the air, while I'm talking to you, I believe Joe Biden is going to speak to the nation about it, is the ultimate tragedy. Can you imagine Navalny, who we've all watched? We've watched him on MSNBC. We've watched him on CNN. We've watched him on CBS. I think we even watched him on Fox. He has been everywhere. And the simple truth is that this man is a victim of a brutal, repressive Vladimir Putin. And it's too late now to save his life. But let us hope that his legacy of speaking out for freedom is one that is remembered. He has a daughter, by the way, who goes to school here in California. I haven't heard her interviewed yet this morning. I guess it's too raw, too new.
Oh, absolutely.
But this is the ultimate tragedy, and it's our impotence. That's the thing. It's the impotence. When you see an injustice and not be able to stop it, it's a real tragedy.
Trump-appointed judge, pardon me, John, has denied Trump's motion to delay the deadlines in that documents case. Also today, or actually yesterday, a hearing was set March 5th for the hush money case. And as I had mentioned earlier, Trump will also learn today, or is expected to learn today, how much he has to pay in penalties for the civil fraud trial in New
this is
York.
a disaster for Donald Trump. This is, and deservedly so. Let me quickly tell you that the fact that he is going to be held accountable, have to be in a courtroom, is something that is critical. The fact that the hush money case is going to play out is very important. The fact that that all of these stars, if you will, are aligning, make it critical. But you know what bothers me? I talk to Trump people all the time. People email me.
I don't know why
and
you
talk
punish
to me.
yourself, John. You punish yourself.
No, you know something? It's the way I learn.
Yeah,
I
that's true.
learn when I hear the opposition. When we were on KGO, Nikki, I always listened respectfully to the Trump supporters. I argued with them, but I always knew they had a voice. What's tragic is Trump supporters that I've been talking to don't see it. They see it as a conspiracy.
Right.
Well, talk about a conspiracy. It turns out the impeachment of Joe Biden is based on a falsehood, a lie. And do you think that that was covered on Fox? Absolutely not. They intend to proceed as if Joe Biden is the crook they believe him to be. The fascinating thing, and I really listen, because to me, the media today is in a sense a window on the world. I listen to this trial taking place in Georgia, or to the question of hush money, or what's going to happen today when Donald Trump is going to get his comeuppance on corrupt business practices. And by the way, he's guilty. This is not a matter of whether he's guilty or innocent. This is only a matter of a penalty.
Right.
I hope he gets everything he deserves. But here's the question for all of us. Will Trump voters, will Trump supporters understand the corruption of this man? And that to me is the critical question, because there has to be a reckoning with Republican voters who, by the way, fascinating. I heard a poll today. 1/3 of Republican voters believe in that Taylor Swift conspiracy theory from the Super Bowl. Can you believe it? Well, I guess I should believe it.
Exactly.
Because it's like the QAnon stuff. It just keeps going.
Well, I mean, you can always, if you believe in anything that Trump says, then you'll just believe anything they tell you. And I've already heard it regarding, the FBI informant that lied about the Biden case. They'll say, oh, the deep state got to him. I mean, they will literally create whatever narrative they need to, even if it contradicts things they already believed, simply because the truth is too hard for them to accept. The truth is too hard that this guy's been conning them from the very beginning.
And what are they going to do today when in New York, Trump is fined for his business practices? Remember, the man.
And it could be a lot of money, John.
Well, they're talking over $300 million.
Exactly.
Possibly. But it also has to do with whether Trump will be licensed to still do business in New York, whether his sons, Eric and Donald Jr., will be suspended in terms of their ability to practice in New York. There are so many implications here. And how do you dismiss it? You know what they say? This is all the Biden Justice Department. Exactly. Biden is after him. And you have to understand, most of these cases have nothing to do with the federal government. No. They have to do with state governments. In New York, the question of his business practices has to do with his business practices. It doesn't even have to do with politics.
Exactly.
But years ago, some of you will remember when we were on KGO, I played the theme music from Elmer Gantry, the great movie starring Burt Lancaster, which is about a flim-flam artist. Donald Trump is a flim-flam artist. And may I make another comment? We are now facing the death of Navalny.
Yeah.
But more than that, we are facing the fact that Donald Trump is saying if he is elected president of the United States, he's going to withdraw from NATO.
Yes.
And, you know, he can't do it legally because Congress passed a law. Congress would have to terminate it, but he can make life difficult for our allies. Our allies are plotzing over the question of Donald Trump being president of the United States. Can you imagine a former president of the United States giving a green light to Russia
I know.
to go after our allies in Eastern and Western Europe? Can you imagine that? Now, I was fascinated to hear one member of Congress say this is treason. And it is. It is absolutely absurd. And that in itself should be the reason why Republicans who still have time to choose someone else. One other comment. I just have to say this because we've just gone through Valentine's Day, and I know how much you love your husband, and
I do.
Kim loves her husband, and I love my wife. I constantly remind her of that. But the question of attacking Nikki Haley,
I know,
for her husband serving overseas, he's a member of the South Carolina National Guard. He is stationed in the Horn of Africa. He is a genuine American patriot, but that shouldn't stop Donald Trump. Remember when he took apart John McCain? You know, I used to see John McCain. He'd come into the studios at KGO because he was a good friend of Ron Owens. And he would, and I always enjoyed seeing him and hearing his comments. I never voted for him for president, wouldn't have voted for him for president, but by the way, he chose Sarah Palin as his vice presidential running mate, the most absurd choice, I think, in American history. But John McCain was a patriot, and he was a hero. And how Donald Trump got away with attacking him, and now Nikki Haley's husband, he has no conscience. He has no sense. And I know there are some, including my good friend Rob from Richmond, who listens to you devotedly, as he does to Mark Thompson, and who is an absolutely devoted to Donald Trump. And my answer is, smell the roses, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Can you imagine a candidate for president of the United States who's about to face a remarkably heavy fine, a man who is attacking his opponent's husband because he's serving in the military? I mean, it is beyond my comprehension. But here's the real challenge. The real challenge now is that this impeachment business against Joe Biden is clearly out the window. And this whole question of impeaching Mayorkas by one vote, and they're going to stick to it. By God, they're
Of course they are. Of course they are.
This is a shame. Nikki, I've told you before, I was a Republican. If I turned my camera just a little bit over here, you would see a whole section of my library on the Republican Party. I have been called a scholar of modern republicanism, a historian of the Republican Party. When people ask for commentary on Republican issues, I very often get the calls from the national media. This is not the Republican Party. What it is what Donald Trump Jr. has said. The Republican Party is dead. He said this on the Ellipse on January 6th. He said, it's now the party of Donald Trump.
Yep.
Well, we shouldn't have in this country one-person political parties. And the Republican Party is going to have to go through, like any addict, it's going to have to go through a period of recovery.
Yeah.
And we can only hope that they get their balance back. Enough of my diatribe.
Well, I like that you say that, though, because John, I would say that the most current example of how the Republican Party is without its own platform, is only going to follow in whatever Donald Trump says, is of course that bipartisan border bill. Is that going to wake up any Republican lawmaker saying, wow, this bill did more for border security than we've seen in decades, and we let it go because Trump didn't want us to pass it because it would give Biden a win, and then he couldn't use the border as a political issue to run on. I mean, the Republican Party has proven to be so ineffectual that literally had in their hands something they have been asking for, and they still turned it away because of their dear leader. I just don't understand it.
Well, that's what a cult is.
Yeah.
And they're afraid. And you know, the person who was severely damaged is Mitch McConnell. And I'm no defender of Mitch McConnell.
Yeah.
But here is a guy who really staked everything else. You know, it is the ultimate tragedy that the Republican Party doesn't get it. And this is something that hurts the United States of America. So we'll have to see how it all plays out. The South Carolina primary is next week. And so we'll have a session together before the South Carolina primary. But it will be very interesting for me to see how Nikki Haley does in the state of South Carolina. But it would appear, unless something dramatic happens, and I think all these court proceedings may make a difference, that Donald Trump will be the Republican nominee. And you know what no one else is talking about, Nikki, and I just want to mention it to you.
Please.
If you were an insurance agent and you looked at an actuary cable and you had two candidates for president in their 80s or one approaching 80, what is their life expectancy on that actuary table? It's not very good.
Low, very low.
So the question becomes, who will be the vice presidential nominee for Donald Trump? We know that Kamala Harris will be the nominee for vice president with Joe Biden. And the right-wing media keeps blasting her. And by the way, a lot of what they say is complete
it's still nonsense, yes. But it doesn't matter at all. They just don't like her because she's a woman, and she's a woman of color.
Let me tell you, I was the first radio talk show host in this country to interview Kamala Harris on KGO when she wasn't an elected public official. She was simply someone in San Francisco who was advocating on a particular issue dealing with the sex slave trade among younger women. I was impressed by her then. I am impressed by her now. And the ridicule that is heaped on her is unjustified.
Yeah, absolutely.
The best historical example I can come up with is the ridicule heaped on Harry Truman. You know what they used to say about Harry Truman? To err is Truman.
That's right.
He was called the senator from Pendergast because he got there because a boss put him into position. Harry Truman proved to be a great president. I don't know whether Kamala Harris will be a good president or a bad president, but the odds are what you do with every president, well, we can talk about next week or during President's Day, which I will do on my own podcast, is how you judge a president. And so I only wanted to throw that out because we better start thinking about the fact that this will be an important election in terms of the future.
Yeah.
And who Trump chooses for vice president will be a good indication. You mentioned, by the way, earlier, Tucker Carlson, who is not a journalist at all.
Right.
He's a hack. But I will tell you that Donald Trump lists Tucker Carlson as a potential candidate for vice president. He's said it publicly. We should only be so lucky that he should choose Tucker Carlson. But then again, I have to tell you, I listened to Elise Stefanik, who is the number 3 Republican in the House of Representatives, and who really wants to be vice president, and was asked the question, if she had been vice president instead of Mike Pence, how would she have ruled about the Electoral College vote? And she said she would have sided with Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Do you want that kind of person as vice president of the United States? Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
These are things, all of which we're going to have to deal with. We're going to try to deal with it as effectively as we can. But it goes to show you how important it is who we choose for president and who we choose for vice president.
Well, and fingers crossed, John, that we don't have Trump as even an option because of the court cases that he's facing. But, being the presumptive nominee, unfortunately, it does look that way. I hope Nikki Haley doesn't suspend her campaign or drop out or anything like that.
What happens if this afternoon? I can't wait. I my afternoon nap is out the window because I've got to find out what happens. If he is fined $300 million, what's he going to do?
He's going to ask everybody else to pay for it, John. That's what he's going to do. He's going to send out a campaign mailer and everyone else is going to pay that fine. That's what's going to happen.
If you're going to give money to anything, it should be to Nikki Medoro's program or Mark Thompson's program or Kim McAllister's program.
Not Donald Trump.
No, of course not. And you can't trump that.
But that's exactly what's going to happen, John. He campaigns on his legal troubles and other people pay the fines. I mean, that's a big fine. I don't know, how quickly he'd be able to do it, but Trump has that name Teflon Don for a reason. And I don't know if the Teflon is wearing out. I hope it is. But again, like you, we'll have to wait and see what happens.
I know we're running out of time, but I do want to make this really clear. I would say perfectly clear, but it recalls my days with Richard Nixon. There are still people who believe that Nixon was brought down by the deep state.
Yeah.
I urge you to listen to Richard Nixon's own words in his interview with David Frost, where he says he impeached himself. He did it to himself. He handed his opponents the ability to do him in. Nixon was at least intellectually and politically honest. Donald Trump is neither intellectually nor politically honest. And by the way, I do want you to know, I know the difference between Nikki Medoro and Kim McAllister. unlike Donald Trump, who
Yeah.
does not know the difference between Nikki Haley and Nancy Pelosi.
Exactly.
I mean, this is the kind of thing that you can only make up. There will be books written about it. In fact, Nikki, I'm going to make a date with you in 20 years. You and I are going to sit and talk about this stuff, and we're not going to believe what we have been through. I am waiting now, and when we're finished, to listen to what the president has to say about the death of Navalny. I do want to indicate to you, and some of you will recall on my program on KGO, I spent a lot of time on that. And if Karen Reed, our former producer at KGO, is listening, she was really the instigator early on the Navalny question. She was the one who said, John, you have to talk about it. And I said something that I now regret. I said, I'm not sure our audience is interested in foreign policy. It was a tremendous underestimation on my part of the significance of foreign policy. And I will not ever make that mistake again. And Karen Reed, if you're listening, thank you for reminding me then. And I'm glad to remind everybody now, the death of Navalny. And we are going to hear, I think CNN is going to replay the special they did. 60 Minutes may replay their interview. Listen to it. Not that he was always right. Not that he was, he has become a martyr in the cause of human freedom. And I was drawing the analogy. This is the Russia of Stalin took care of Raoul Wallenberg, the great Swedish diplomat who was arrested at the end of World War II, sent to the Gulag and perished there after saving the lives of tens of thousands of Jews. And the world could do nothing for Wallenberg except mourn him. But we in the United States did something special. We made him an honorary U.S. citizen. And I would suggest that there should be an initiative in Congress, too little, too late, to make Navalny an honorary U.S. citizen as well. We should honor him in death. We weren't able to save his life, but maybe we can make his legacy mean something. So that is my suggestion for the morning.
John Rothman, Around the Political World with John Rothman is a very quick, short podcast, but it's loaded with political information. He is the expert. He joins us every Friday with a political roundup. And I appreciate you so very much for coming on with us, John. Your insight is invaluable. And we'll talk again next week.
Good. And may I urge people, do support the Nikki Medoro program. They'll flash on the screen in a moment how you can do that. But if you want these kinds of independent voices, Nikki, Mark, Kim, myself, although I'm still a freebie, I want you to know that your support is critical. I don't say this lightly. We don't have a talk radio station in San Francisco, unbelievably in the fourth largest media market in the country. But we do have Nikki, we have Mark, we have Kim, and we need to support them. So 3 cheers for you. And I can't wait for next week. Who knows
be big.
where the world will be.
Oh, geez.
But I know where I'll be. I'll be right here with you.
Exactly. You'll be right here. Thank you so much, John. Around the Political World. Make sure you find it on your podcasts. Thank you, John. We'll talk next week. Bye.
Good.
All right. Yeah. I mean, he's just the guy. Go check out his podcast, though, again. And Kim McAllister. It's a busy day for Donald Trump today. I love having John Rothman on to dissect it all. So it's just going to be.
That's pretty
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And again, the Navalny death, murder, his wife has already spoken out. She said, whoever has done this is going to be punished. Nobody but, I guess, some Republicans, some Trump supporters are doubting that Russia/Putin was behind it. But more details will come out.
Well, I mean, obviously.
He's a huge critic, a loud critic of Putin. So
I have a story to tell you coming up in news. And there was a video of him yesterday in court, and he was fine.
Looked absolutely fine.
Totally joking around about how, you're going to have to give me more money because all the fines are sucking away all the cash I've got for prison. He was fine. And now he's dead.
Now that doesn't mean that he wasn't, he didn't ingest something. Or again, nobody knows exactly what happened. Apparently he was walking in the yard, fell ill, collapsed, and then never woke up again. So,
Could he have had an aortic aneurysm? I suppose so. The likelihood of it? Not
Are we
likely.
really going to know the truth from Russia about what killed Navalny? I highly doubt it.
Think about who he is and where he is. I mean,
exactly. And he said himself, like, if I die,
the most likely scenario is probably the one that happened.
They got
right?
me.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, let's do some news, and then when we come back, I do have some food news, and then I have some questions. And another story, a question that I was mulling over yesterday while I was at the funeral for one of my best friend's dads, which if there's anything, Kim, that makes you truly feel your age, and I don't feel old, but just I do feel the age that I am is when your friends, parents that you've known, some for years since you were a little kid, pass away, which happens to all of us. It's a part of life, right? But it's knowing you go through those stages, right? Everyone graduates college, everyone starts getting married, everyone starts having babies, and then all of a sudden you're at that age where parents start passing away, and it's sad. But there's a question that I was asking while we were sitting there, me. Got to fill the time with something as we wait for things to begin. And so I asked this question of my friend and my husband, and both of them just kind of looked at me like, I don't know. So I'll ask you guys coming up. Again, click that thumbs up button. Our Patreon super chat is live. Please consider supporting the show since we are 100% crowdfunded. And here's some headlines.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
I'm telling you guys, that just never gets old. No. I wanted to start this newscast by talking about what Nikki and John Rothmann have been mentioning already, which is Alexei Navalny. So here's a picture of him. It's a good-looking guy.
I know.
Guess
He's
what else?
He's like 46.
He's young. Yeah. Well, a video shows Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny apparently in very good spirits the day before officials announced his death. In a Thursday court appearance, Navalny was joking with a judge, asking him to warm up his bank account because he was running out of money due to all the fines. Navalny showed no obvious signs of poor health as he was seen speaking through bars on a TV screen in the courtroom. According to the Russian Federal Prison Service, Navalny felt sick after a walk on Friday and lost consciousness. He was 47 years old. As Secretary of State Antony Blinken says Russia is responsible for the death of Navalny, Blinken offering brief comments while in Munich for a security conference, adding the United States will be in contact with other countries regarding Navalny's death. He was one of the last vocal, high-profile critics of Russian President Vladimir Putin.
The last.
That's what happens when you speak out.
Exactly.
I mean, if it's not any more clear, I don't know. And he'll get away with it, Putin.
Well, who's... And I don't mean to who's going to stop him? Who's going to stop Putin? Who?
Well, let's just talk about for a moment the presidential immunity claim from Trump.
Exactly.
And he was asked, his lawyers were asked, well, does that mean that if you're president and you kill someone, that it's okay because you were the president while that happened? That's the way they do it in Russia. Is that the way we want things done here? No. Does anyone
awful.
think that if that power is given to someone, they won't use it for something like this?
Right.
Come on.
It's dangerous. It's scary. You have to really see how the mind of people like this work. Day one, Trump says day one, the first day I'm reelected president, I will be a dictator. Just one day of dictator. Like, that's okay. For people to, he should be a dictator. It's insane. It's insane.
Insane is right. Well, verdict is expected today in the New York civil fraud trial involving former President Trump's business. So let's get a picture of him up here. Oh, what? Yes. That's what he looks like, right? You have to approach it with some humor. Otherwise, you'll just go nuts,
you'll just
right?
Cry. Exactly.
State Attorney General Letitia James there in New York is seeking a $370 million fine and a lifetime ban of Trump's company operating in New York State. Trump accused of inflating his net worth in order to obtain more favorable loans. A judge has already ruled that Trump engaged in fraud, so today they decide the penalty. This could mean no more Trump Organization in the state of New York.
Fingers crossed.
Mm.
I mean, he could pay $370 million. Of that, $168 million would be the sum that Trump apparently saved on loans by inflating his worth. That, according to Letitia James. So, I hope they throw the book at him. I just don't think that. I just don't know what it'll take for him to go away, Kim. Like, I just don't know. But it has to be prison. I think prison. It will finally make him go away.
Maybe. I don't know, or maybe just the years. Finally.
Yeah.
Well, I hate to, and I don't want to say that anything bad should happen to someone. That's not what I'm advocating.
Well, I never wish death on anybody. I never wish death on anybody.
Or
yes.
ill health or anything
That's
like
bad.
that.
But I would like him to go away in whatever way the universe decides to make that happen. I mean, it's not up to me. I don't care about the how. I have a goal. I want Trump to go away in whatever way my universe, higher power, God wants it to happen. Mm-hmm. That's what I will support. How about that? Is that fair?
Yeah, I'm reminded of when Oprah Winfrey was talking about racism one time, and she said something like the only way racism dies out is when all the racists die out, right? No. So as this generation of racism, whatever, goes away, then the next generation is more enlightened. That's the way she thinks it ought to work. Sadly, I've seen a lot of younger people that are stirred up into racism as well.
Exactly.
So I don't necessarily know if her plan of action is going to work, but maybe that's what it takes, is this generation of voters to check out. I don't know.
Somebody needs to check out. In whatever way that means, somebody needs to check out.
I hope that it's not a case of checking out. I hope that it's a case of people coming to their right mind. Honestly, I don't know if that.
My friend.
Yeah, I know exactly. Fani Willis, look at her. She is not taking it.
Pissed off.
She is not taking anyone's S, if you know what I mean.
No.
Fani Willis will not take the witness stand again. Prosecutors made the decision this morning after the Fulton County District Attorney gave combative testimony yesterday while being pressed about cash and vacations that she took with Donald Trump prosecutor Nathan Wade. The hearing will determine whether Willis should be tossed from the Trump's Georgia election case because of misconduct surrounding their romantic relationship.
It's a distraction. It's a delay attempt. It's stupid, and I'd be pissed if I was her as well.
I love how she said, "Don't try to make me on trial. I'm not on trial.
I'm not on trial.
They're on trial for trying to steal the election."
Exactly.
Let's recenter and refocus, everyone. Right?
It's so obvious, too, what they're trying to do, because if she is found to be thrown off, then the whole thing has to start over. They have to bring in a whole nother prosecutor. And guess what that gives Trump? Another delay. And then if he can make it all the way to the White House, then he has that kind of protection. And it's ridiculous.
I was trying to find a picture of this FBI informant, and there's so many people with the same name that I can't, I don't know which one is which. So I won't use a picture for this guy, but I will tell you this story. Because this former FBI informant is now facing charges, and you alluded to this earlier, of allegedly lying about President Biden and his son Hunter Biden's overseas business dealings. His name is Alexander Smirnov. He is accused of falsely telling the FBI that.
Wait a second. I mean, Smirnov is a very popular name, so
it's not the vodka. It's not the vodka.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
It's the dude.
It's the dude. It's not the vodka. Yeah, go ahead.
Apparently, there's an ice skater named Smirnov. So wait, Alexander Smirnov. So when you look that picture up, it's all of like ice skating and
it's
ice
like
capades.
John
like,
Smith. It's like,
wrong guy.
Exactly.
No,
we don't want to, accuse anybody that's not the person. So that's smart. Okay, go ahead.
No, but this Smirnov is accused of falsely telling the FBI, feeding them this information, this false information, allegedly, that executives of Ukrainian energy firm Burisma admitted to him that they hired Hunter Biden to get access to then Vice President Biden. Smirnov made the claim to investigators in 2020 when now President Biden was then a candidate for president. He is charged with maintaining false records and with providing false information to the FBI.
But shocking, not shocking, Republicans are going to continue with the impeachment. They're like, nah, it doesn't matter that the key guy that fed us all of this is now found to be lying. We're still going to go in with the impeachment inquiry.
I mean,
Waste
can they? Does that mean
time? I
guess they had no proof before, and now they have extra no proof.
Well, it's just an inquiry, Kim. It's just a waste of time. I know my politics show when I say things like this, but they are the most ineffectual political party that currently they have no platform. What is their platform? Oh, the border crisis. Are you sure? Because they just didn't make their bill pass and that was their decision. So it's not the border. So it's not. What do the Republicans stand for? Nothing except defending Donald Trump and then putting their head in the sand with any sort of true problem Americans face, whether it's gun violence, can't even go to a Super Bowl parade without getting shot. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
You mentioned the Super Bowl parade, and that's what we've got next. Community and faith leaders in Kansas City are showing support for the victims of Wednesday's shooting at the Chiefs Super Bowl victory parade. A candlelight vigil was held last night to honor the woman who died and the nearly 24 people who were injured as well. Authorities believe the shooting stemmed from a dispute between two juveniles, both of whom were arrested at the scene. I talked yesterday. So sad. I talked yesterday for a little bit about the victim in this case. Her name is Lisa.
Yeah, and she was a radio DJ.
She was a radio girl. She was a radio girl and she was a mom.
And her kid was there.
And I thought, that's a lot like us, Nikki.
Yes. If the Niners would have won, I would have been there.
That would have been you.
You know?
I mean, honestly, so you know, I talked a little bit yesterday about women in radio, how at one point there weren't that many of us, how we have to stick together, about how we all have the stories of the early days of radio and just the wacky things that happened. And she's a very prominent DJ on a Spanish language station there. She's also a prominent member of the community who loved to, DJ people's weddings. And I just feel so sad about her death, and her kids now don't have a mother, all because someone brought a gun to a parade, a victory parade.
It's like, okay,
stupid fight between kids.
How many shots do you need to shoot, for a disagreement? That just seems really weird to me. The number of people and children that were injured, let alone somebody lost their life over this, is crazy. And again, and I don't want to, they're like, don't politicize tragedy. But think about how many security checkpoints, how many cops were there, and still guns got in. Just too many guns. It's an obsession in this country.
So this woman's name was Elizabeth Lisa Lopez Galvan. And the community there set up this GoFundMe for her. For her children. Getting a proper memorial for her, as well as general financial assistance. She left behind a husband and 2 kids. They had a goal of $75,000.
Yeah, I'm sure it's way past that now.
The GoFundMe now is at $256,000 almost.
Nice.
One big chunk, Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift comes up with $100,000, throws it right in that GoFundMe.
Hell yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just, she's amazing. I think anybody, I'm sure Travis Kelce, the whole Kansas City team, obviously I wanted to beat him in the Super Bowl, but my heart goes out to them. I mean, do you think if they win another Super Bowl, their parade isn't going to always be marred by this? It's awful. Every Super Bowl parade now, people are going to think about, I will think about, whether it's football, baseball, you can't do anything, it seems like, in this friggin' country, without wondering, well, there might be somebody with a gun. This is the sickness that is America, and it sucks because I love this country, but we just have this obsession with guns.
I don't know if you've ever been sent out to report on these parades, victory parades. I've covered 2 Giants parades and a Warrior parade for KGO in the past. And you go out there and it's like this collective joy, this spirit of everyone coming together to celebrate the same thing. We could be completely different people, but we're all happy about the same thing.
Happy.
And there's just this, it's a beautiful atmosphere, and it's fun and it's festive and everyone's joyful. And then this happens. And it honestly probably could happen anywhere, right?
Natalie says guns got in because it's legal in Missouri for all ages, including minors, to open carry without a permit. What in the holy heck? That's the problem. And it seems common sense that kids whose brains have not developed, who might, oh my goodness, I'm carrying a weapon and now I've gotten in an argument. Now I'm going to use said weapon. I saw one comment yesterday and someone's like, the gun didn't commit the crime. The person did. I'm like, oh my Lord Almighty. It's so awful. You know, we lock up poisons and things like that because we want to keep people safe, morons. It's crazy. But okay. Anyways, sad, and our hearts go out to them. I don't know what else to say.
So apparently you can't, I don't know if you can make a $100,000 donation on GoFundMe.
Oh.
So Taylor Swift had to split it up into two $50,000 donations.
I'm sure her people figured it out.
So she did it twice. Here's a picture of Lisa Lopez Galvan and her family, her husband and her 2 kids.
Can you imagine? My heart just breaks for them. That is so sad.
Taylor Swift writes a message along with her donations saying, "Sending my deepest sympathies and condolences in the wake of your devastating loss. With love, Taylor Swift."
Oh, God. Well, that's, that's awesome that she did it, but it sucks that this poor woman died.
I love that she's coming into the aid of Kansas City Chiefs fans.
Yeah.
Exactly. If they were mad that the TV was showing her so much, if they were annoyed that but look what she does for the community.
I don't think that KC fans were upset about Taylor Swift being there. I really don't. Unless they lost. I know there was like a loss and they're like, she's distracting Travis. But other than that, I'm pretty sure they loved having her.
Yeah. There is a swearing-in ceremony that will take place.
Okay.
That is going on for newly elected lawmaker, and Democrats needed the numbers in the House. They don't have the majority, but still, I mean, we saw how a recent vote was down by just 1, right? So every vote matters.
Exactly.
Well, New York Congressman Tom Suozzi will be sworn in February 28th.
Okay.
Democrats picking up a House seat when Suozzi won a special election this week to replace expelled GOP lawmaker George Santos.
Bye, George. Yeah. Bye-bye. There you go.
Sayonara. The cleanup continues at the National Archives after protesters dumped red powder on the display holding the original U.S. Constitution. The Archives building's rotunda remains closed for a 3rd straight day. 2 men were seen dumping powder in the display case on Wednesday. Didn't touch the Constitution, but the case over it did. They were led away by police. Conservationists will continue working to clean up the powder using vacuum cleaners and cotton swabs, as well as bags of shredded erasers. They're working to clean this up.
Interesting.
I'm telling you, these people that are protesting against the environment, hitting our most important cultural pieces of history.
Yeah, it gets attention.
It just pisses me off.
And I mean, I get the point, like the desire. I probably would agree with some of them, right?
Yeah.
But the way they go about it is just, okay, you got attention. No one remembers you. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, okay.
But I guess, how do you get attention? I mean, would we be talking about it if they threw powder at, I don't know, something that wasn't of importance?
Yeah,
but
exactly. That's how they get attention, is by doing the Constitution. If you throw it on, a menu at Cheesecake Factory, you're not going to get any sort of attention, right? You have to throw it on something that's going to bring, just like the food against the Mona Lisa. Remember that happened a couple weeks ago?
They're the same people.
It's the same people?
It's the same kind of deal. Yeah, they've been hitting all these cultural things of import. And so now, I
guess if nothing's damaged and they're just doing it to get attention, it's like, okay, you have to pay your fine, do your time. If they're actually damaging something, that's like, okay, get it together. It does seem they choose things. It's not like they're breaking the case and destroying. Yes, exactly.
But you wonder what that meeting was like. Well, if we choose things that make people gasp,
right?
What would we choose? Oh, let's make the list. The Mona Lisa, the Constitution.
Right, exactly.
Come on. This report is sponsored by you, which means we do rely on you to fund the Nikki Medoro Show. Let's fund it. TheNikkiMedoroShow.com. It's TheNikkiMedoroShow.com. That's our website, and it's a good one. Find the Patreon and the PayPal link there and all the fun stuff. And the super chats and super stickers are open. As a matter of fact, Harry pops in with a $5 super sticker, and it's great to be back. Well, it's great to have you back as well. Vilma also with $5 in memory of Alexei Navalny, whose talent paid the highest price in the name of his country's freedom. Thank you, Vilma, for that message and for the $5. And then, of course, Spencer earlier with $5. So thank you for all the ways you guys support the show. Can't tell you how much we really appreciate you. I'm Kim McAllister. This is The Nikki Medoro Show.
Okay, thank you guys again so much. I was gone yesterday. All right, so food or funeral? What do you want first? Food?
Ooh, funeral.
Or funeral. Okay, so here's the story. I'm sitting at the funeral. And of course, there's always some time. We get there a little early. And so we're sitting there. And I'm looking at the card that they give people to, remember and what's going to come up, kind of the program of the funeral. And there's a picture of my friend's dad who had passed away. And it was an older picture, like when he was younger, right? And so here was my question. What age, if you lived to a long life, what age picture would you choose or want on the program at your own funeral? And I was asking my friends, I'm like, what would you choose? What age? And like my one friend finally, she was just like, she thought about it. She's like, I don't know, whatever picture makes me look good. Like, I just want to look good. But I was like, what age though? I mean, you look good at many points in your life, right? So would it be your 20s, 30s, as a mom, as a grandparent?
Do you have a favorite picture of yourself?
I don't. That's a great question. So I'm trying to think. I feel like if it was me, like God forbid I died soon, but I would want it to be a picture of me with my family, maybe. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, okay, yeah, Harry took the words right out of my mouth. Would you choose a baby picture of yourself? Like
no.
how young do you go? Now, I think the picture they chose was either the wedding or college. I mean, he looked really good. He looked younger, I don't know the age. But how do you decide that?
So I think it's the same. I'm telling my sister and I, it's the same as if you've gone missing. My sister and I have this thing about, okay, well, if we go missing, they pay more attention to you if you're attractive. When they put the picture on the screen, you got to pick a good one, because if you look all haggard and raggedy, nobody cares if you're missing.
But if that's how you look and the people are looking for you, like you have to look for the haggard one because that's what you're currently looking like. Everyone's like, that's not her. She looks too haggard to be that gorgeous woman right there,
But if it's the good picture of you and people are like, oh, look at, was a young mother, right?
Should you do a split screen? This is what she looks like, so you guys are interested in looking for her. And this is what she looks like actually.
So we have pictures that we've chosen of each other that if we go missing, these are the pictures to use.
Really? Oh, that is
okay.
So
if I go
funny.
missing, use this one. If you go missing, well, she's a TV reporter, so she knows.
I love how morbid this is. That is
this
awesome.
Awful? Here's the picture. It's the picture I use here.
Yeah. So that's the picture that we would have to use. Okay.
I think Jacob had just been born. So that picture has got to be, 10 years old now. A little less, 9.5 years old.
I think you look exactly the same.
No,
so that's
my face
picture.
was thinner. My hair was, a little thicker because of old age. I would be able to
search for you and find you.
That's the picture that would go on my funeral thing. My funeral.
I love Heather. Just a picture of my feet and pudding.
That will never get old.
I love you, Heather. I love you. Yeah, I don't know if I would. Okay, but if you pass, not that you're missing.
Yeah.
But if you passed away, would you want that picture?
I think one of the pictures.
So of that age. So that's that's what we're going for. And
that's the prime.
Well, so this is why I'm also conflicted, because if I die, when I die, I hope it's at an old age. And there is something to be said of being like, you know what? I lived this long and this is what I look like, with all the smile lines from all my laughs and all these sorts of things. Like, there is something to be said with using a picture that people will remember that's how you looked when you passed. On the other hand, I want them to be like, oh my God, look how great that picture is when she was younger, right? So I don't know. I just
also, you have to hopefully, right, with both of us, that maybe we'll have grandkids or even great grandkids, and they won't know that other person,
that younger,
they'll know the person that you were. So do you want people to remember you in the current phase of who you were, or in the earlier phases? I like a display that has the different phases of life.
And they did a beautiful montage, like a photo montage of him when he was younger, obviously older as a grandparent, with his wife. Him and his wife had been together since she was 17 years old, or he was 17. I think they said that he was 17 and she was 15, like he was a senior and she was a sophomore in high school, and they started dating. And it just broke my heart, because again, one, it reminds me of me and my husband, because we've known each other that long. But two, just imagine being with somebody that long. And then they're just gone. It was just a really sad. I mean, of course, it's a celebration of life, but it was just really, funerals are hard, man. It's just like you think about it and you're like, all of these things she's going to have to do for the first time alone. And every single time it happens, it's like another stabbing at the heart, you know? Murphy says, I have a quote unquote professional picture I use in our recital program. It's actually a selfie on my 50th birthday, but my hair looked good. If my hair looks good, it's definitely at the top. Doug says, Kim, you just reminded me of an old song, My Favorite Picture of You.
I have to seek that out. I don't think
I'd have to seek that out too. I don't know it. All right. So BW says 35 years old. Okay. Mario says 30. Ricky says 69. Bump. I don't know. I think I would probably, because it would kind of be fun to have a in my 20s type of photo, right? Like me, young, my kids, my grandkids would never imagine seeing me as to kind of be like, look, your old granny used to, behind the trot. On the other hand, I think they'd be a little shocking. Randy says, for my dad's funeral service, we used a lot of pictures from throughout his life. Yeah, that was the montage, but I'm talking about like the program picture. People walk in, they grab it, and there's that one picture. Maybe there's a big blown up one. Or you could do that. I don't know how many of you saw that series, How to Get Away with Murder. There was a funeral scene where they had Viola Davis and all the many pictures of her were blown up. And I think that's actually kind of good. Oh, Ricky says, I am 69. I thought you were making a joke. It's me and my dirty mind. No, it wasn't an open bar, but we did do some drinking. I did give up my drinking during the week because, it was just one of those. Natalie says, I think around 50 would be right. If it's published, everyone in your life recognizes you, whether they knew you as young or old. Beth says a lot of people use their high school yearbook photo. I love my high school yearbook photo. So that would be kind of cool. Did I take a college one?
God,
I had
my
to.
high school yearbook photo was so.
It was kind of good too.
Mine is so 80s. So 80s.
That's what's fun about it. Mine's not because I have curly hair, so it's always just curly. Like that's all it was.
I mean, I'm backlit. I have like big hair. Like, curly and feathered and like crazy hair.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I thought that it was really cool. Ren says my mom had a professional photo shoot done for her obituary. She was in her 60s. She lived until 90. That's planning ahead.
That is planning ahead. She's like, listen, I look good right now. I'm going to get this picture done, these pictures taken. These are the ones you're going to use.
Yeah, and I know Ozzy. Yeah, go ahead. Finish your thought.
I was going to say she probably had them clipped together with a note,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
There's
use these
people that are like completely planned out, and they're like, here's the funeral packet. Here's all the things I want. Here's everything done. Here's the pictures. Here's the obit. Here's it all. Yeah.
I think everyone has that favorite picture of themselves. Even when they're looking back, they're like, oh, look at me right there. I know, Aussie, that it can have a mix of photos too in the program. I was just kind of contemplating, what would we want for that one photo. I have one more morbid story. This is actually morbid. Go ahead.
Do you have a favorite picture of yourself? And do we have it?
If I had to think about it, and if I was going to go young, I liked my college, even my high school senior photo. I liked those photos.
Yeah.
I mean, my wedding photo, I could kind of maybe choose one of those. Me older? No. You know what also is the problem, Kim? A lot of my photos currently are selfies, right? Like you're taking, or it's not that good of a photo, or somebody else is in it, right? Like how often do I take a picture of just me? That's very odd. Sometimes I purposely do it, but it has my kids in it or my husband in it or something like that. So unless we're taking professional photos, which honestly we need to do, we're so behind. I don't know. I don't know if I have something like, obviously the picture that I used for this show, that's an old one. I mean, it's not that old. My hair was much longer though. Yeah, exactly. I just feel, could you imagine? Can you imagine, Janet, if on my funeral picture, it wasn't me and my husband, it was me and Matthew, my kind of hottie. That would be hilarious. Actually,
that would be really funny.
That would be just on the nose funny. Very, 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 very funny. I wonder if he'd show up.
That would be
perfect.
Really funny. And I mean, what way,
it would be in the montage.
Chuckle?
I'm just saying it would be in the montage. It would definitely be in the montage.
Someone took a picture of me in the KGO newsroom on the day of the 75th anniversary of the Golden Gate Bridge.
Okay.
And I think it's funny because of the hat. And maybe this would add some humor.
It'd be in the montage. It would definitely be in the montage.
Maybe that's the one on the cover. I don't know.
I will say this. If it brings a smile to people, I think that's great. Because again, it's not as if anyone's like, people like, I love weddings. Nobody loves funerals. It's awkward. It's hard. You feel awkward. You wave and you shake the hand of family and you hug those that you want to hug. And it's just it's just so friggin' sad. You know what I mean? And so if it could bring some levity to it, it's just hard. Now, this other story that I saw is disturbing. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Now, we talk a lot about what I want done with my body. We talked about that at the funeral too. Like, what do you want done? Cremated, not cremated, all those sorts of things, right?
You want to be the necklace, right?
So I want to be cremated.
Yeah.
I want some of my ashes to be mixed with my husband so that we can either be planted together or whatever. And then I want some of them taken out and made into jewelry so that I can haunt the people that get the jewelry, because that's also part of my goal in the afterlife, is to haunt people. I'm making that a mental note, making it happen. But I don't know about this. And this is as somebody who, yes, I do have tattoos. I have two tattoos, but I don't think I would ever want this. So there is a service in which people that die, they can have their tattoos removed. So yes, people, that is their skin, and it can be preserved for people to display.
No.
That is too much for me.
That's Silence of the Lambs right there. No.
Thank you. I'm like, so let me get this straight. You're going to cut this tattoo out, and then you're going to, I don't know, tan it or whatever the hell you do to skin. And then you're going to frame it. And then when people are like, oh, what's this? You're going to be like, that's my dad's old tattoo.
No.
No. Yeah. Natalie's like, I'm not into taxidermied humans.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
is
It's like displaying
so
body parts.
Weird.
No.
Yeah, I saw this yesterday and I was like, again, this is in Ohio. It's a funeral home that will do this for you. Did I have another one?
God, who asked for this? Somebody asked for this.
Well, exactly.
Can you by any chance cut my dad's tattoo off of his arm and mount it on this frame? I'd really love to save that.
Well, according to this article from regarding this funeral home, Matthew Burleson's final request to his sister, Cindy, from his hospital bed in the ICU was, save my tattoo when I die. She says, one night he asked me, he said, I want one of my tattoos saved. And I was like, okay. She didn't know it was possible until she found Save My Ink Forever. It's a Northeast Ohio-based company. They say they're the only company in the world, thank God, offering post-mortem tattoo preservation. They remove the skin, they preserve it, and then they frame it for families. Kyle Sherwood is the COO, said it can be more personal than getting a loved one's ashes, which, if you think about it, is kind of, okay. People will say, I can't imagine the funeral home or funeral director giving me back an urn and saying, this is my son. Whereas with the tattoo, I have an actual piece of them, and I saw that tattoo every day, and I feel like they are home.
Don't you think it's their body and it should go with them?
I mean, it is one of the first things to kind of wither away, though, right? So
I think that's gross.
Natalie makes a good point. You could take a picture of it and frame that.
That's
True.
what I was thinking, Natalie.
Yeah.
Like, just take a photo and let it go.
Yeah.
You don't need the skin hanging on your wall.
It was
City.
When I saw that, I was like, oh my goodness. So the owner and his father had already offered creative memorial options like solidified cremains as decorative stones. So that kind of goes along the lines of my jewelry. But then a friend told them he wanted his tattoo preserved after he died, and they took up the challenge. They needed practice, though. So get this. They worked with tummy tuck patients to pay for tattoos on areas of the skin that would be removed so they could work on preserving the skin.
Telling you.
Yeah.
It puts on its lotion. Right?
Put the lotion in the basket.
Put the
lotion
in the
on
basket.
the skin. Exactly.
No. This is wrong.
So they started offering the service in 2016. Business picked up quickly, and he expects it to expand in the years to come. He says the younger generation will kind of more normalize what we're doing, and that as time goes by, it will become more popular. So there you go, people. This could be in the will. This could be in the will. Lori has no problem with it. See, it's already, convincing some people here. It is kind of gruesome. But again, getting the charred remains of your loved one is kind of morbid if you think about it, right? It's like we burn the body and then we sweep up the remains and we hand it to you in a metal box or urn or whatever. And you're like, here you go. Here's dad. BW says first they had to live with a horrible tattoo all their life, but now they're insulted in death too. Yikes. Well, if it's something that really meant something to you. Ew, Heather. Forbidden fruit roll up. That's gross.
John makes a good point. What if they have a lot of tattoos?
I mean, you can make a whole new human being. I would imagine there's a limit, but who knows?
Poster-sized thing of skin hangers.
You can make it. I mean, if you can crochet, maybe you can make a whole blanket out of it. You know what I mean? Like old T-shirts. Jeez Louise. No regrets. Exactly.
Jennifer, that's a nice lampshade. No! Thank you. It's my father.
Exactly. I mean, look how morbid we've gotten. It's awful.
Jennifer, that's a good one.
That's really good. So yeah, I'm a no on this, and I am quite morbid. But I don't know. Tramp stamps immortalized. One of mine would be, just to let you know.
You have a tramp stamp?
I do. My first tattoo when I was 18 years old. I got it right there. Yeah. Of course I did. I'm a 90s girl. Where do you think 90s girls got their first tattoos? Right there on my lower back. Absolutely.
Thing I have ever heard. What does it have? Flowers? Like a little
No,
scroll?
it's so dumb. It's the woman sign. I don't know why I need to identify myself as a woman with a tattoo on my back for the rest of my life, but I did. So there you go, people.
We can slice that out and hang it on the wall when you're gone.
Just in case you were confused, you know what I mean? So I am not showing it. No, thank you. It's not happening.
Show. Yes, show.
You're gonna have to pay for my feet and pudding and my tramp stamp. I gotta get paid for some of this, people. Sorry. And don't donate to the show just thinking I'm gonna show my lower back. I'm not going to do that.
I found my senior picture. It's a little fuzzy because someone sent it to me. You ready for this?
Yes. Oh my! It looks like a glamour shot, like the light behind you or whatever.
That's my senior
love
picture.
That
was in the yearbook.
It's not that bad as far as your
hair. With the backlight and the big hair and
No. Oh, Natalie says I'm the same age as you, Nikki. I almost got a tattoo in Cancun on my senior trip. If we're almost the same age, we might have been in Cancun together. I backed out. I still have no ink. I have ink, and my first was a tramp stamp on my lower back.
Oh, you're so
literally the tattoo shop is still open. It's down the street from my house. Every time I pass by it, I'm like, oh my God. And also my problem with my tattoos is I can never go small. Like it's always like this gigantic thing on my body, and I'm a very small person. Yeah, it's so stupid. So, but it is what it is. It's part of life.
I kind of want to see your senior picture now.
Oh God, that's gonna take me a while. I don't even know. I'll go to I have to go to my mom's house later today, and I think she has it on the wall. I don't know if it's my college or my high school. It might be my college, but I'll take a picture of it and I'll show it next time you're back. So Kim's going to be gone Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week, by the way, people. Start mourning now.
Like nobody cares.
Everybody cares. I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss you. But yeah,
as long as you're here, it's fine.
Pretty sure my mom has one of my graduations, and I don't know if it's senior but what's funny is my high school senior photo, I have the exact same hair, except my hair ends here in high school, and then it's down like here for college. But it looks pretty much the same because it's just curly hair. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? I will find it. Okay, I'm behind, but I wanted to do a couple of food headlines with my favorite. What's my favorite food restaurant? What's my favorite fast food? Thank you very much, Taco Bell. I'm trying to get like some sort of trivia going, and you guys better know that at the first question. Okay, so Taco Bell, I'm going to show you this picture. Did you know they held like like the Apple events where they announce the new iPhones or whatever? Taco Bell had an event just like that last Friday, by the way. It was called Live More, or whatever, where they.
What is that green pie? Is that Mountain Dew pie?
Yeah,
Jesus.
They're gross. So Taco Bell unveiled a lot of new things. One looks friggin' bomb. Okay, you guys, I'm doing a commercial for Taco Bell right now, and I don't give a crap. So just suck it up, Buttercuts, okay? That is the cheesy chicken crispinata. You know I'm a sucker for empanadas. Does that not look delicious?
It looks like fair food.
It looks like it's like this kind of like a chicken enchilada-ness inside of like a flaky crust. I'm going to eat that.
What could we fry? What do we have that's fattening and tastes good that we could dump in oil?
Anything at all.
It looks heart attack inducing. It really does.
It does look bomb though. Yeah. They also have, which I think that we're kind of being saturated with this, that I don't think Taco Bell is going to be too successful with, but who knows? They're going into chicken nuggets. I don't see anything special with this. The nacho cheese sauce, it's like, whatever. Mm-hmm. But this, I will specifically go to Taco Bell to get. They have this partnership with Salt and Straw, and they are bringing back La Choco Taco.
Oh, the Choco Taco.
Yeah, so I think it has like that flaky salt, the salted chocolate. That looks bomb. I'll be eating that.
Vanilla ice cream inside? Is that what
I would assume? Yeah.
Then now the original Choco Taco, it didn't have a spot to hold, right? You had to eat it because the whole thing was encased in chocolate.
Yeah, but it doesn't.
Like there was no naked part for you where the person's thumb is. Like the whole thing was dipped in chocolate.
Yeah, I think it looks delicious though. Yeah, I will be eating that.
I'm not gonna lie. That's exciting. The Choco Taco is returning.
Thank you. Yeah. And this, just to let you know, that is what they are calling a Mountain Dew gelato. I will not be eating that.
No.
That looks absolutely disgusting to me. Mm-hmm. And so, no, I think that my two things are the Choco Taco and the Crispinata. Thank you. Yeah. I love all things Taco Bell. I don't care. It is something that you guys need to accept about me. Murphy says, I love cheesy anything, but I gave up pastry bread and anything with wheat or rice flour. I hope it's for health reasons. And not just a dietary choice, because life, unless it's health wise, life is not life without bread. I'm sorry. I love all things bread and fried and things like that. But if it's supposed to be a gelato, Mountain Dew gelato. It looks like a key lime pie to me. I don't know what the hell they're calling it. It ain't real. Mountain Dew is just, it used to be my soda when I was a kid, but no more. Yeah, John, it looks like my doctor would punch me in the face for eating it. Indeed. Okay, we do have Tim Sika coming up in a little bit, but I want to do this one story, and then we'll do a couple more headlines, and then we'll go to Tim Sika, because I swear to God, I could not stop laughing harder. Now, I know that I make the joke about pudding and feet, right, or feet and pudding. I had this daydream yesterday that I was going to come on this show, Kim, and I was going to announce that I had an OnlyFans account, and then I was going to include the link, and then everyone was going to click on it, and it was just going to be a bunch of pictures of me with fans, like just OnlyFans, like a literal fan, like that blows on you. I was cracking myself up about that the other day.
It's OnlyFans.
I'll be in the picture. But anyways,
that's not as advertised. Where's the pudding? Where's the feet?
People, and I also read, just on a side note, OnlyFans isn't only sex and adult content, by the way. I mean, influencers are using it, like being like, I have an OnlyFans, and that gets people to click. And then it's like they're cooking stuff and things like that, which is kind of genius, I would have to say. But no. When you have an OnlyFans, there are consequences for this. One, there was the teacher that got fired because she decided to drive around with this gigantic decal on her car. Okay. Now, if you don't know why, you're dumb. Like, obviously, people are gonna know and follow the car and see who you are. Her name's Michelle Klein. She told People Magazine her children have been expelled from their private Christian school because of the decal. She says they're not allowed to come back here, even though I had obliged with them by staying off campus with my decals. Liberty Christian Preparatory School board officials told Klein that their enrollment was terminated because she produced and distributed pornography via a pornographic website, advertised her account via vinyl lettering and images on vehicles. You can make bank on OnlyFans for not doing too much. But this person was fired, and you'll remember her. Here, let me share my screen because I forgot to download the photo. It's none other than Rachel Dolezal. Am I pronouncing that right? Dolezal?
Yeah, that's how I said it. Yeah.
Okay. So she's also known as Nikki Diallo. This picture is from 2017. You'll remember she was like the head of the NAACP in like Spokane, Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Then they find out she's not even black. She said that she was half black. Well, she's been fired because apparently she also had an OnlyFans account, and she was being terminated from her school district in Southern Arizona. She was hired by the district in 2023 as a part-time after-school extended day instructor, but no longer after they became aware of posts by Diallo or Rachel Dolezal on OnlyFans.
I read somewhere that she wasn't making very much money as a post-educational instructor. I mean, it's like the after-school section, right? Where they pay you, it's basically daycare.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, maybe, I don't know, 10, 15 bucks an hour minimum wage, I would assume.
Yeah. And so maybe she was supplementing her income, but yet you're working with kids. So,
but here's my question, Kim. I mean, if you have to go on the website and pay to see the pornographic material, right? Yeah. Is there something wrong with that? Although I will say, if it's in your contract, social media type of, you know, and they explicitly tell you can't do explicit things on social media, then 100% you should be fired.
Here's the thing, though, as you kind of allude to this, where someone had to go and find her on there. How do you know she's on there? And is it, you know, are you judging someone for basically partaking of the content on OnlyFans?
No,
right? So you're looking at it. She's providing it. You're looking at it. I mean, come on.
I just kind of feel like, again, according to many people, you don't need to do much if you can get a good following to make decent money on OnlyFans. One person was saying that they made more on OnlyFans and they weren't doing anything pornographic. They were an influencer, content creator. I think the article I was reading, she was a chef. And then, so she was posting like 2 recipes a week. Mm-hmm. And then you could request maybe a private cooking show. And I don't know if there's anything hanky-panky
what's going on during the
private
topless cooking show?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know anything like that, but she made it seem like she wasn't. You could also get tips through OnlyFans.
Let's make lasagna naked.
Exactly. And if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But if you're making more doing that than the woman was also a waitress from her waitressing job, how do you pass up that kind of money?
Yeah.
You know, it's just, believe me, the conversation has gone through my mind. I'm like, what? We've had this conversation. What could I do that I wouldn't? And again, I said feet and pudding, and then all of a sudden people were requesting my feet and pudding, and I was like, okay, I can't do it. I was like, no, that's just not going to happen. But yeah, you can do the naked cook. Rachel is worse than Santos, Spencer says. I feel like she has mental health issues. Like, you don't go around telling people that your parents or that you're half black, but then it comes out that you just kind of believe that. She's basically mentally ill. So I'm not making fun of her. I just cracked up laughing when I heard that she was back in the news because of the fact that she had an OnlyFans account.
This is supposed to be her act 2, right? Like after leaving in humiliation, because she was a college instructor.
Yeah, she didn't have to go down this road. You know what I mean?
No.
But I do feel like she obviously has mental issues. There was an article back in 2017 that reported that Dolezal, when she was known, was only offered work in reality TV and pornography in the aftermath of the I'm Half Black scandal. So she needed money. And you know, if you're seeing OnlyFans people making hella money, I'm not going to knock it. It is a legitimate job if you want to do it. And I would say that versus the woman that had her gigantic decal, that's hard when you have kids. You know what I mean? Like, she's a very attractive woman. I understand why she's doing OnlyFans.
If I'm her kids riding around in that car,
God,
I'm mortified. There are some things your kids don't need to know about.
Yeah.
Mommy, what's the onlyfans.com slash
Exactly.
what does that mean?
But
Oh, honey, that's where I appear naked and flaunt my boobs on the internet. Why would you do that, Mommy?
And I think that 9 kids got expelled from that school because of that decal. Apparently, Klein's 2 kids were expelled, and then another mother complained about the sticker on TikTok, leading to her 6 kids being expelled. In the end, 9 kids were expelled from this school simply because of that decal and kind of the quote unquote research into her online account. I don't know, man. We are so puritanical when it comes to stuff like this. I would never do that to my kids if I wasn't OnlyFans because that's the society we live in. You could say, oh, it shouldn't be like this. It's just sexual. Okay, that's fine. And I agree with you, but that's not the way society runs. Yeah. And so you are basically putting a scarlet letter on your kid's chest because you want to make money on OnlyFans, and that's not fair.
I don't even care if she's on OnlyFans. If that's the way she makes money, so be it.
Yeah.
But to embarrass your kids like that, and to
and
roll around town with like woohoo, it's different if you're a single person. But when your naked nudie activities start affecting your kids in a public fashion,
right?
Randy had a question. He said, I read about the kids getting expelled, and I didn't understand why the kids were expelled. Did they say why all those kids were expelled?
I think it was because they were found to have gone on the website. Hold on. I just shut it down. The administrators told him because he looked her up. Yeah, it was because they looked up the online account, which is like, okay. Are you searching every other kid's phones to see what other websites they're looking at? Spreading our pictures around the school, showing others. Yeah. So I can understand that's outside of the social media contract that my kids had to sign. They go to public school. I can't even imagine at private school, the rules, right?
Our resident teacher, Lori, says if you're working with kids, there are restrictions on what you can do and say. I know a teacher who got fired for complaining about classroom behavior and district policies on Facebook, which is surprising to me, Lori, because usually a teachers union, you could set a flaming pile of dog crap on your principal's desk or on the superintendent's desk and still not be fired. Like, it takes a lot to fire a teacher. So that surprises me.
Well, I also think that if the last thing that a district wants is bad headlines, right? I literally just heard that line on Abbott Elementary, which is a TV show. But yeah, they don't want, and if you're bringing bad headlines and it's in your contract that you're not going to do things on social media, I think it's pretty easy to kind of draw that line. But you're right. It does seem, especially when places are so hard up for teachers. And yeah, the fact that it's a private school, they set their own rules, right? It's at will at the very least. Okay. And then one more hot to trot story before we do a couple headlines. Do you ever watch that show, Hot Ones?
No.
Anyone watch that? It kind of goes with our food segment too. Hot Ones, you've probably seen clips of it. It's where this guy interviews celebrities while they eat increasingly hotter sauced wings. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So there's one of Jennifer Lawrence. She's like, really? And she's like crying. I mean, it's Gordon. I just watched the one with Gordon Ramsay and he was pissed. He could not, like, it was so hot. It's funny or whatever. It's gotten a lot of big name people and it's a fun show to watch. Anyways, the host, Sean Evans, apparently was dating an adult film star by the name of Melissa Stratton. They even went again. Well, I don't know if she's an old, but she's an adult film star. They even went to the Super Bowl together. Well, once the photo of them at the Super Bowl went viral, apparently he broke up with her because he felt their relationship had gotten too public.
Oh.
Sean, again, I just mentioned to you, Kim, have you heard of the show Hot Ones? It's a funny show. I will say it's very popular. You in and of yourself are not that high up on the celebrity ladder that you need to be dumping somebody that publicly because she's an adult film star. I think he get a little too big for his britches. He called her up on Valentine's Day and broke up with her, Kim. On Valentine's Day.
Somebody's feeling mighty important.
He didn't even send her the goodbye pie. That would have just the Pete that break up with you pie. He didn't even do that. But yeah,
that's funny.
I mean, if you're gonna date an adult film star, remember Jimmy Garoppolo was hanging out with adult porn stars or whatever, and he was getting some headlines for that. Don't knock it if you're gonna date it. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't bring shame to something that you were not ashamed of doing in the first place. So I don't like him for that. I'm judging him. I do like his show though. It's very, very funny. They have like milk. They have a bucket to spit into. Like it can kind of get gross, but it's a funny and he tries to interview these people straight. And I will say Sean Evans has like a tongue of steel because he eats it right along with them. He eats it. And so it's a very good show. Hot Ones. You could watch it on, I don't know. I think it's on like YouTube.
That show's like right up your alley.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we watch it. My husband was binge watching it the other day. But I've watched episodes of it. So it's pretty good. But again, I'm shaking my finger at you, Sean Evans. You should not judge people for that. All right. Let's do some more headlines. And then Tim Sika is going to join us. And he's going to review. And I don't think he's going to like it because the reviews of other people have said they're like, it kind of misses the boat. And I really want it to be a good movie. And that, of course, one of the movies that he's going to review is One Love, the biopic for Bob Marley, which you can only guess that I'm a fan, given the fact that one of my children is named after him. Click the thumbs up button, show your support for the show. You guys, please financially donate to the show through our super chat if you can, and our Patreon at thenikkimedoroshow.com. We appreciate the support each and every day. Thanks, guys. All right, here's some headlines.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
Let's start with some breaking news out of the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs. So it's the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs. It's on lockdown. Reports say there is a very large police presence on campus. KKTV in Colorado Springs says the lockdown is in response to a call of shots fired. Police are asking the public to avoid the campus right now. No reports yet of any damage or of any injuries, I should say, there at the campus, but it's a story we're following here at the Nikki Medoro newsroom.
Hold on. I just Googled it as you're talking. 2 people were found dead in a dorm. Okay.
What do we got?
2 dead. The University of Colorado campus lockdown. 2 people were found dead in a dorm. The lockdown has since been lifted. This update was about an hour ago, I think, according to this article. They put out an alert.
I'm really
of course.
behind the times.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, I don't. Colorado. I don't know what I think they're on Central Time or something like that, right? Fabulous. 2 dead in a dorm. It appears, at least from this article that I'm reading, that it's contained or it's over or whatever. What is wrong with us? What is wrong with us? That's all I'm going to say about that. I don't know.
A ruling is expected soon in former President Trump's civil fraud trial in New York City, as we mentioned earlier. A judge could impose a fine of up to $370 million and ban Trump from doing business in New York City. In Georgia, it's day 2 of a hearing in a bid to remove Fulton County DA Fani Willis from the former president's election fraud case. Meanwhile, Willis's dad says it's a black thing to always have cash handy. John Floyd on the stand today said, in his words, most black folks hide cash or keep cash. He then talked about racism in the past where a restaurant would not take his credit card. The hearing to determine whether Willis should be tossed from Trump's Georgia election case surrounds her ex-boyfriend and prosecutor on the case, Nathan Wade. Willis hired Wade and paid him more than $600,000 so far to prosecute the Trump case. Wade and Willis testified they split the cost of their trips to Aruba, Napa, Belize, and a cruise. Willis said that she paid in cash. Neither could produce any bank receipts for this. So,
I mean, again, what does this have to do with the price of beans for Trump, right? It means literally nothing. They're grasping at straws, and it's not against the law to pay for things in cash. It's not against the law to have a romantic relationship. There's no crime here. The only crime was committed, allegedly, by Donald Trump. So it's ridiculous.
Again, with Alex Navalny, President Biden says Vladimir Putin is responsible for the death of Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny. President Biden said Navalny's death in prison is proof of the Russian president's brutality. President Biden praised Navalny, calling him brave for standing up to corruption and violence carried out by Putin's government. Reports out of Russia say the outspoken critic of Putin died while behind bars at age 47. Egypt appears to be setting up a refugee shelter near the Gaza border in case Israel invades the southern city of Rafah. So that's the latest in this area. Egypt denying preparing for refugees on the Sinai Peninsula, but sources tell Reuters that an area is being prepped near Gaza that would have basic facilities to accommodate Palestinians. More than 1 million displaced civilians are believed to be crowded into Rafah after attempting to escape heavy fighting in other parts of Gaza. Hundreds turned out for a candlelight vigil to remember the victims of the Kansas City Super Bowl victory rally shooting. One woman died, nearly 24 others wounded in that mass shooting, and police say the shooting likely stemmed from a personal dispute. It was not related to the Chiefs' victory. A popular Bay Area water park, we mentioned this yesterday, but I'm putting it in for you.
I know, I love this.
Shut down for good after all. San Jose officials have cut a deal to have Raging Waters reopen this summer. The city council still needs to approve the agreement, but it is expected to pass in time for people to beat the heat later this year. Raging Waters has been empty since it unexpectedly closed at the end of last summer. Now, California Dreamin' Entertainment's agreement with San Jose will see the water park remain open until at least September of 2025, with a more long-term deal in the works.
And I mean, okay, I'm not saying conspiracy here, but really, they announced the closure at the end of the summer last year. Okay, so it was closed anyway. They didn't lose any money, right? And then now they've built up all this. Oh my God, I wasn't able to go, blah, blah, blah. So now there's this desire. And now all of a sudden, whoop, right before summertime, oh, look, we're going to take it over. They do need to do something to the park. It needs to be updated. It needs more staffing. The last time I was there was for my son's birthday. Half the stuff wasn't even running. The wave pool was closed, and I was pissed because I got a freaking the little canopy, whatever, right by it because I was going to hang out there all day and it wasn't even on. So they need to fix those things. But again, if you know the area, it's Raging Waters, and then they have the gigantic skate and BMX park right in the same park. So it's a huge opportunity for someone to step in and take it over. So I'm so happy about that news. Absolutely happy. Yeah.
Leaders in the Oakland Unified School District are trying to figure out how to balance their books in time for the next school year. School officials say they're currently facing a budget deficit of at least $23 million. Ooh. That has left leaders trying to figure out ways to cut costs and balance the budget before the start of the new school year come fall. District officials say pay raises to teachers, declining enrollment, and the rising cost of transportation have all led to this budget deficit. Some of the fixes include potentially eliminating numerous school staff positions and reorganizing entire departments. So big changes coming for the Oakland Unified School District. Meanwhile, federal authorities are investigating after an American Airlines passenger bypassed security, a checkpoint in Nashville, Tennessee, and flew to LAX. Didn't have an ID, didn't even have a ticket.
I don't understand how this happens. I don't understand.
The woman was able to fly to Los Angeles last week without showing a boarding pass. TSA says she hoped that hopped a barrier that was unmanned at the time, but she did go through a security line to have her carry-on items screened. The woman was detained and questioned after the plane landed. She hasn't been charged with anything yet. It's the second time in 3 months that someone has boarded a flight without a ticket and landed at LAX.
Fabulous. Just love hearing the possibility of this happening. Great.
In the security line, don't you have to present your driver's license and your boarding pass?
Thank you. Like, what are they doing? If I had to take my friggin' shoes off, you at least need to check the darn IDs.
Make sure I'm supposed to be there. Come on.
Craziness. Craziness.
This report is sponsored by you. Find us at theNikkiMedoroShow.com. TheNikkiMedoroShow.com is the website. that's the Patreon and PayPal link. You'll find it all there listed out for you. And also the super chat, the super sticker, the super everything is open here on the YouTube. So thanks for all the ways you support the show. I'm Kim McAllister. It's the Nikki Medoro Show.
Thank you, Kim. All right, it's Friday, and it's one of our favorite days because we get to talk movies and streaming with Tim Sika. Hello, my friend.
Hey, Nikki. Hey, Kim.
Hey.
How was your Valentine's Day, ladies? Was it nice?
It was nice. Yeah, I made a nice, yummy dinner for my hubby. I got candy and cards from my kids and my husband, so it was very nice. Did you have a nice one?
Yeah, I guess I did. I kind of don't remember it, but
even better.
I don't even think I celebrated. But everybody's asking me how mine was, so that's the first thing I thought to ask the two of you. How was yours?
There you go. Well, I did. You know what I did want to do, and I'm gonna switch up the order because you brought up Valentine's Day, because I know the movie was released on Valentine's Day. And I wanted to go see it, but then I didn't. And we're going to go this weekend, so I'm hoping that you like it. But I'm thinking that you're probably not going to like it because from people that have seen it have not really liked it.
Which one is that?
That would be the Bob Marley One Love.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I don't want to give my hand. Let me say. Okay. All right. Yeah. Everybody is seeming to not like this movie. Which is it's weird. Anyway, this is Bob Marley One Love, and it's a biography of Jamaica's biggest star, I guess, Bob Marley. Yeah, pioneer of reggae, and who tragically passed away from cancer at age 36, but who left the world an unsurpassed musical and spiritual legacy too. And I thought this was a fine movie.
Oh, good.
I guess people are saying. The critics are saying they're calling it meh, and they're calling it a standard biopic, and moviegoers being polled, though, are calling it great. I think it got an A cinema score from fans. So this is one time I'm sort of on the side of the fans. I guess in certain respects you can categorize it as a standard in terms of Hollywood narrative biography, but it was serious. It was better than Ray, which, these same critics went nuts over.
I liked Ray.
I did too, but I think this is better. I think this is better than Ray. It's very well intentioned, and it's very respectful of its subject without making its subject a saint, which these movies tend to do. It was directed by this guy named Ronaldo Marcus Green, and this is his fourth feature film. And this is my bias, I think, going into this. I like all of this director's work, even that little scene movie. It was called, I bet you guys never see it, you probably never even heard of it. It's called Joe Bell. It got very little notice when it came out. It was a true story about this guy. Mark Wahlberg played this guy who literally walked across America to speak out against bullying and to honor his teammates. It's a really, really good movie. His son died of suicide after he was bullied for being gay. Anyway, really, really good film. Same director. And I liked his other drama. I think it was called Monsters and Men. And he also directed King Richard, the one about the tennis players.
Yes.
Yeah, that won Will Smith an Oscar, before
that was overshadowed by punching.
Yeah, that was overshadowed by what. Anyway, and that movie was nominated for Best Picture. So yeah, I like this guy.
Oh, good. I was so hoping that you were going to like it because I have a daughter named Marley, Tim. So you could just guess how much I love Bob Marley's music and his legacy. So I had a lot and apparently, and correct me if I'm wrong, they worked with the family very closely on this film.
Yeah. At the screening that I saw, the early screening that I saw, it was preceded by one of the kids who basically said, we were really proud of this movie. We did work with the filmmakers, and we're glad this movie was made, and we really love how it turned out. Kind of thing. So, but anyway, you could argue that maybe this director doesn't have a specific flair for biopics, whatever that means. I disagree, but he definitely has a feel for them. And that feel comes across in this movie. For one, he employs a certain amount of lyricism in the telling of Bob Marley's life, especially the flashbacks, what he came out of. His life was not a happy one. He really transmuted it all, but he had a tough life. The lead performance by this British actor's name is Kingsley Ben-Adir is terrific. There's the music, Marley's music, his Rastafarian spiritual beliefs, how he infused that into his music. The high points of his life are all here, the politics, the assassination attempts on his life, and his legacy and his spirit. You leave this movie going, wow. I imagine this. I like Bob Marley's music too, and I'm a fan. But if I didn't know anything about this guy, after leaving this movie, I would go, wow, this guy was amazing. He was a great artist. You know, I wanna know more. So my criticism is that it actually could have been longer. You know, because another criticism too, the Jamaican dialect is a bit tough to get around sometimes.
Yeah, the patois.
Yeah, but what was interesting about that was, even though at times it was a bit hard to understand, the story itself was strangely very easy to follow. It's almost like, wait, what did they say? But it didn't affect the narrative. I went, oh, but you know, it was easy to follow. So for the music, for the acting, and for its respect in telling the story of this musical icon, I liked and I recommend this movie.
Oh, good, because we're gonna go tomorrow when it's all stormy. That was our plan. So,
oh, good. I can't wait.
That's what we're gonna do.
I can't wait to know what
I'll let you know next Friday. Perfect.
Oh, you'll like it. I think you'll like it.
I'm so excited. And I'm going to bring the kids. And, you know, my kids obviously grew up on Bob Marley's music, but, you know, just to teach them a little bit more about his life and why we're such fans. I'm excited to do it.
Excellent.
Okay, let's go to this Marvel, Madame. Oh, is it a Marvel, Madame Web?
I guess it's Madam. I don't know. Madam. It actually spelled like Madame.
Should I be pretentious about it, Madame?
Yeah. That's more what I tend to do. Anyway, it's a Marvel superhero movie. It's based on the comic of the same name. I didn't even know there was a comic, and it's the fourth in Sony's Spider-Man universe, which I thought, okay, I think that's a new thing.
Spider-Man's
metaverse. So Madame Web is like the female Spider-Man?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, kind of, sort of. It's not. Yeah, I mean, let's just say that a spider figures into this movie.
Okay.
It's a spider that actually triggers all this stuff. Anyway, it's directed by women and it's about women. Dakota Johnson plays the title character, Cassie Webb. She's this paramedic. She lives in Manhattan, but she has this accident. And after the accident, she develops these psychic powers and she becomes a clairvoyant, being able to see into the future, like seconds before events that she's picking up actually happen. So knowing what's about to occur, she can then alter those events. So that's kind of interesting.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is. It is interesting. And the plot involves Madame Webb taking under her wing these three young girls who are being pursued by this character called Ezekiel Sims, who is also a psychic. He's also a clairvoyant. He's able to see into the future. There's a thing in there where the spider bites him, but he can also see into the future his own death. And so he's after these girls because he thinks that one or all of them could be responsible for killing him. He keeps having these visions. And so he tracks those visions to this group of girls. And that's kind of sort of what's going on here. And I keep saying this to you and Kim, but there's such a glut of superhero movies on movie screens today. And we're being so bombarded by them that it's hard to know what the criteria one is supposed to use in critiquing them. So that said, this one seems okay. I mean, the story's reasonably interesting. I like that the massive special effects stuff really didn't come until the last act of the movie. So the first 2/3 was more about character development and plot development and the establishment of the plot. Okay. Dakota Johnson, I'm a fan. She's a really good actress.
Her. Yeah.
Yeah, and she gets better and better with every project. I mean, I think within the next couple of years she's going to really break through and become a big star. And bet your bottom dollar, as is usual with the latest Marvel, there's all kinds of controversy surrounding it, how it differs from the comic, what universe it's supposed to be in. Mm-hmm. Critics and fans are really vomiting all over this movie, calling it the worst comic book movie ever. But again, I found it. I mean,
you kind of liked it. That's fine.
I found it interesting enough. It was entertaining enough. It didn't exhaust me.
Right.
Because it was mostly about character. I mean, and it did have the requisite big big special effects scene towards the end. But you know, I liked all the women in it. I feel like defending it, although it's kind of hard to defend in the way all these Marvel movies are kind of hard to defend. But I find most superhero movies, you know, certainly of the last 10 years, hard to defend anyway. But I think the way to sum it up for me is that while I was watching it, I actually imagined myself watching it in the theater with my 13-year-old daughter and having a good time. Maybe not a great movie. Maybe you can say it's not a good one, but it's not the travesty critics.
It's fun.
And fans
Yeah.
are playing. It's fun. Yeah, that's
go.
my take on Madam Web.
Well, Tim, Laura,
how did I not know you have a 13-year-old daughter?
I don't have a 13. I said I was imagining.
Imagining.
Yeah, imagining. You know, I worked with kids for years, and so I really like kids. I've never had any of my own, which I don't know. I'm you know, based on my friends and you know, I love kids.
There you go.
It's nice. It's nice
living vicariously through other people's kids. Tim is the best, because then you can hand them back when they're a pain in the ass.
That's it. You said it, Nikki. That's
it really
exactly
easy.
Right.
Lori has educated us though, Tim. She says, does it have an E on the end? Yes. So Madame, pronounced the French way.
Okay,
if there's
Madame.
no E, it's Madame. So it's on the first. So it is Madame.
You have such a smart audience.
I
Boy,
do, don't I?
I'm always humbled. Yeah.
There you
learn.
go.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to how to have sex. Tim, is it all in the title right there?
Yeah, titled "It'll Pack him into the theaters." You know, don't you think? But as though you need to be told how to have sex. Anyway, but what this film dramatizes is much less salacious than what that title implies. This is a very serious movie. It's a Cannes Film Festival prize winner. It's about 3 British high school senior girls and best friends who go off together on this sort of like rites of passage holiday before they go to college, where they just go hedonistically nuts by clubbing, boozing, randomly hooking up with guys, with one of the girls in particular determined to lose her virginity. Now, what does all that sound like? Like some 90s, early 20s
yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Female version of a male sex
American
comedy.
Pie? Yeah.
Yeah, like American Pie, exactly. Or Superbad or Sex Driver, one of those movies. Well, this is anything but. It in the beginning, you're thinking this is kind of like a female version of, all of that, but it's more of a mood piece than a specifically like plotted out scenario about what happens to this one girl who winds up, and this is kind of a spoiler, but not really, because it's moving towards that. She winds up having sex with this boy, and it's about the effects that her deciding to make that choice have upon her. And again, if I had a daughter who was, say, just about to enter college and was going to live on campus, I would encourage her to watch this movie because it's powerful. It makes you stop and think. It's not judgmental about, teenage sex or any of that, but as a movie, it takes all of these like tired cliches of youth partying and drinking and drugging and hooking up, and it turns them into something really tender and beautiful. And you can see, stereotypes and cliches, they have this basis in truth. Otherwise, there wouldn't be cliches and there wouldn't be. Exactly. So it captures all of that, but it really, it's another movie entirely. And it's just staying with that thought. It's a surprising movie too. But it starts off with these girls acting like jerks, like the guys in American Pie do. But then when, let's just say, certain things happen, the tone shifts and we become kind of stunned in a really, really good way. This is a really, really good movie. It's a hell of a good movie. Yeah. How to Have Sex.
How to Have Sex. Well, they have a great title. So I'm sure they're going to get a lot of eyeballs for that. All right. We have one more.
Okay.
And you've described this as food porn. So we're kind of staying in the same realm of things that are turning us on.
Yeah. Well, I said food porn because, that seems to be a way that, people describe movies like this, and it gets people into the theater. But this is... food porn is sort of like, it's kind of not fair, but it is. This is a French historical romantic drama. It's set in 1885, and it depicts this romance between a cook and a gourmet she works for. And yeah, this movie's many things. The superficial description of it would be that it's a foodie movie. It's about, it's
it's
food
called the
porn.
taste of things for people.
The taste of course.
I might actually be able to get my husband to a rom-com or a
Ah.
romance. Yeah.
Oh, I'm telling you, then this is the one you have to get him to watch. It's about the glories of gastronomy and food, but it's really, oh God, I found that this was a sublime love story too. One of the most sublime love stories I have ever seen depicted in any movie ever. It was exquisite. Juliette Binoche plays the cook. Oh, she's wonderful. And French actor Benoit Magimel plays her gourmet employer and the man for whom she works. And it's just a beautiful love story that's surrounded by food and these food preparation scenes and dishes, and the way in which the sensuality of food is depicted in this movie and how it's prepared.
Food is sexy.
Served.
Yeah, buddy.
I know. It not only makes you hungry, but it's a key to the deep love connection and the affection that these two people have for each other, and the beauty of this relationship. In other words, food is used as an expression of the love between these two people, and it's so beautifully and satisfyingly rendered here. I could go on and on and on about this movie. It was I don't know if it's a rom-com, but it got to me where I lived.
Well, not a lot of com in it, a lot of rom in it.
A lot of it is. It's kind of amusing, but it's also very French. So there's that. But I mean, just the manner in which the actors, as their characters, prepare the food, cook the food, consume the food, and converse while eating. It's very, very sensual without being gross or disgusting. And all of it's rendered in this style, this impeccable cinematic style, which looks as though it looks like the movie wasn't edited, because it kind of it appears to unfold in real time, and it's very difficult to make a film about eating and showing eating on camera that's appealing in a visual way. but this movie does it, and it's sort of like, God, another thing that went through my mind when I was watching this movie, in addition to this beautiful love story, oh my God, the way it ends, it's like a religious experience for me.
Oh, wow.
but anyway, what was I saying about the eating? Oh yeah, I thought, God, I hope I look this way when I'm eating and I'm in a restaurant and I'm with friends.
I probably
talking.
don't.
I probably don't either.
So I'm shoving food in my mouth.
Exactly. But anyway, this is a great movie. It's a great movie romance. And I think with time, it will be considered a classic. And you heard it here. You heard it here first.
Heard it here first.
This is, oh God. Yeah, and the issues I have with rom-coms and dramatic movies about relation. This is like the gold standard, in my opinion.
Nice.
Yeah.
So let's just go through
I gotta go see it.
Yeah,
it's
you
top of my list now. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So the taste of things is a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Madame Web is a thumbs up.
Yeah.
One Love is a thumbs up.
Yeah.
And How to Have Sex is a one. I mean, you can't go wrong this weekend to go to the movies.
No, I would say that's a good summation of all these movies we talked about.
Nice.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, Tim Sika, we love having you on. I'm so glad that you liked everything you watched, and we'll talk to you next Friday.
All right, talk to you next Friday, ladies. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm going to see One Love this weekend, but that taste of things looks, so does the How to Have Sex. I'm just excited that everything is out there for us to watch, my friend.
I know.
Is it hard to get your husband to go to the movies?
So he goes to see certain things. So he bought a ticket for himself to go to the movie Dune 2.
Oh yeah, no, pass.
So, right, pass for me, but he wants to go see it. So he knows. He didn't even ask me. He just bought a ticket and he showed me. He's like, I got my ticket. So
I didn't see Dune 1. This is Dune 2. I'm like, I have a catching up to do. So no.
So there are movies that there are movies that we want to go to together. Like if a Mission Impossible comes out or a Jason Bourne movie comes out, we'll go see those. It's harder to get him to go see movies about, romances.
Yeah, no. Yeah. I wouldn't even ask James to go to a rom-com with me. I'd just call up my girlfriends or wait till it's at home, and then he's like, I'll just sit in the other room and while you watch this stupid movie that I don't want to watch. So
usually when I go see movies, I go with my mom.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. I love that. Well,
she loves to go to the movies and she loves to go see like the latest. She wants to see all the Oscar movies. So she goes to more movies than I do, which I haven't honestly the last movie I saw was Boys in the Boat.
I don't even know what that movie is.
I think it's nominated for at least some Oscars. It's a George Clooney produced movie about rowers, Olympic rowers.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I have not seen that movie. I have not. Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of people in that movie too. So, and you liked it?
I did like it. I went with my mom, my sister, my daughter, and my niece. My niece, who's a national champion rower. So, and
that's
the whole
awesome.
Petaluma rowing team was in the theater when we went to see it. So
oh,
it was
that's
fun.
cool.
Yeah.
Hold on, I gotta sneeze.
Gesundheit.
Never mind it.
No. Don't you hate when you lose it? It's like it's in there somewhere. It's got to come out.
Well, everyone go to the movies and let me know what you watch and what you like. I'm going to see One Love. Go see something. Go see The Taste of Things. And then when you come back, Kim's going to be gone until Thursday of next week. Happy birthday to the star of our show, the star of our wrap-up, Jacob. How old is he going to be now?
10.
And so what's his actual birthday?
February 18th.
So my daughter, Marley, her birthday is the 23rd.
Okay, they're almost birthday twins. Almost.
Yeah. So she was supposed to be Valentine's Day. Supposed to be. That's what the doctor says, right? That's the day that they gave me was supposed to be Valentine's Day, and she didn't come until the 23rd. And so, happy birthday to your son. You're going to be gone, enjoying your time off. I can't wait to hear all about it because I know you're going somewhere fun. You're going to the Monterey Bay Aquarium. It's not a big surprise.
He loves the jellyfish.
Yeah.
By the way, his due date was April 1st.
Just kidding.
His due date was April 1st, and he was born February 18th. That's a month and a half early.
Yeah, so think about that, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So we love Jacob, and happy birthday to him. Enjoy your time off. Monday is President's Day. I will be working in San Francisco, but I'm going to try to get something up, likely recorded on Monday, and then I have shows planned Tuesday and Wednesday as well, and then Kim will return on Thursday after her much needed and deserved vacation. You guys, please though, click the thumbs up button to show your support for the show, and please continue supporting us through our Patreon. Become an official Medorable. TheNikkiMedoroShow.com, TheNikkiMedoroShow.com. You see it on your screen. Go there. Our Patreon link is there. Our email address, if you want to PayPal us, is TheNikkiMedoroShow@gmail.com. Happy birthday to the kids, and thank you, Harry, for the $5 donation. Let's give some other thank yous as well. Harry also came in with it's great to be back $5. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Vilma came in with you go ahead. You hit it.
I'm going to stop clicking.
Okay, I'll click. Vilma came in with a $5 donation, and so did Spencer as well. You guys, we appreciate the support. I love the emails and the support you guys give us that way. Yeah. Thank you so many to all you Medorables out there. So support us, TheNikkiMedoroShow.com, and all those ways. And I will see you on Monday. Stay here for the Mark Thompson Show and the After Party Live as well. Yeah. And take it away, birthday boy. Bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You sprout like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.